Good morning, this is Jim Williams with the Hurricane City Tropical Update for May 9th. It's around 8:45. We're watching Tropical Storm Ana off the coast of the Carolinas. This was a subtropical storm yesterday, and it's consolidated overnight, and now we have a purely tropical storm, so the winds are more centered or directly around the center. Here's the HurrTrack program. This morning of Tropical Storm Ana, you can see the wind field is just about approaching the coast of southeastern North Carolina at this point, right around Wilmington area. And throughout the day and into tomorrow morning, this will be making landfall. So let's go ahead and start the animation, show you what's going to happen here. Again, early morning hours tomorrow morning, the core of this will be coming in just south of Wilmington as a 45 to 50 mile an hour tropical storm. It'll be weakening. I'll show you some sea surface temperatures in just a minute. But you can see the system will be moving in, and then by Monday it'll completely be absorbed by a front and then get slung off to the northeast, exiting Norfolk on Monday evening. So that's basically what's going to happen here. It's going to be a rainmaker, a little bit of wind here, mainly on the coast, and then sling off to the northeast. This will be, by beginning of the week, this will be a done deal and out of our way. Let's take a look at a visible shot of Ana from NOAA, and you can see that the system is kind of ragged looking. It's not real tight. You know, when you have an organized system, it's usually a tight center of circulation. This is kind of ragged looking. So this has probably reached its peak intensity. It might increase a little bit, but then as it gets near the coast, it's going to hit those cooler sea surface temperatures. The main reason for this update is we have a brand new Hurricane City to introduce. I was going to release it on on June 1st on the Hurricane Season Kickoff Show, and decided to go ahead and release it yesterday because of Tropical Storm Ana. So here is the new Hurricane City. And again, with the black background, the white text doesn't show up real good on a live broadcast like I'm doing right now. But I do want to show you some of the bells and whistles on this website before I get to the zoomed in version of the frame that you see in the center of your screen. But this is quite a different look than we've been used to with Hurricane City, and I want to thank Chris Hollis from TropicalAtlantic.com. He's done some work on the code on this and tried to tweak things. We're still tweaking things as we speak, but it's coming along rather nicely. As usual, you can always click on this play button in the upper right-hand corner, and if we're live, if we're doing any kind of live shows or a live chase or anything like that, it's going to show up down here in the main frame. But right now, if you click on it, you're going to get some of our recordings. I think the Jim Leonard Hurricane George video is the first thing you're going to see when you click on that feed right now. But when we're live, it'll go right to the live feed. New also this year, our Twitter feeds right here next to the tracking map. These are people that I follow. So when I think there's something relevant or interesting, I'll retweet it, and it'll show up next to the tracking map. Of course, our own tweets will show up there as well from Hurricane City. And you can always click on the current featured city, which is Wilmington, North Carolina, and again, that'll show up in the main frame down there with all the options to see the radars, cams. I'll show you that in just a minute. And we always have our countdown clock going when there's an active storm heading towards land, and that'll count down until the core of the wind field reaches the coastline. So in about 15 hours, Wilmington's going to be feeling those sustained tropical storm force winds, or at least for the most part. This is not a real well-organized system. And of course, when you scroll down the site, we have our thumbnails that you can click best performing models, and it'll allow you to see the models, wind fields, and also the all of these links down here in yellow right below the tracking map are all GIS-based maps. I'm going to show you those in a minute. Just a lot of unbelievable stuff to show you here. So let's get right to it. Let me go ahead and get you zoomed in on the frame of the website, and we'll start showing you some of the really neat stuff that is available at Hurricane City. So let's go ahead, and we're zoomed in on the main frame now, and we're zoomed in on Tropical Storm Ana. And you can see the zoom-in version here shows you the actual dates and times of landfall. And we can see here the landfall in the purple area outlined as tropical storm warnings. and the models are indicated in different colors, and the best performer is the red model, and when you click on that, it gives you the HWRF information. It's indicating the winds are going to be right around 36 knots at landfall, and then you can click on any of these models, and it'll give you all the detailed information from each model of what it's finding and what it thinks is going to happen as this makes landfall. Really cool feature at Hurricane City. Now, all important sea surface temperatures, and again, these maps are all zoomable. So let's zoom right on down. Let's get right down to the surface, practically off the coast, and find out what's happening where this storm is. And you can see there's some pretty warm sea surface temperatures in the Gulf Stream, right in here, and you can see that these temperatures, some of these temperatures, especially up in here, are in the upper 70s and low 80s, but as this approaches the coast over here, the temperatures drop off significantly. We're talking upper 60s, low 70s. So these maps come in real good and handy, when you're tracking a system and you really want to know what's going on at the surface. Sea surface temperatures are definitely a good idea to check those out. And here we have a NASA zoomed in satellite right over the top of Tropical Storm Ana, and the system again is a little bit better organized this morning, more banding features and more bright colors right around the center, but not a real well organized system as these tropical systems go. Now, the one thing I wanted to show you this morning that is currently unavailable. Oh no, it is available. It just popped up. There we go. Now this is what's really neat. You can zoom right in on these ships and buoys out here, and let's take a look at right around where this is heading. Now let's take a look at this buoy right here. And we can see the winds are east at 31 knots, gusting to 39 knots. So a formidable tropical storm out here. I mean, definitely a tropical storm. Pressure 29, 81 and rising, which is rather interesting. Rising pressures out in front of this. Water temperature 75.7. So all this data is really important as these approach land. You can really zoom in on these buoy maps, and they're just a lot of fun to click around and see what's going on with the storm. All right, another new feature of Hurricane City, tides. Want to know what the tide is in Wilmington? You simply click on the Wilmington button, and it'll open up a new page showing what the tides are and the highs and lows. And this is another new feature at Hurricane City that I really love, and this is the potential storm surge potential maps for each location in the Atlantic Basin. So let's take a look at Wilmington, just for fun. I mean, we're not talking about a hurricane here, but this would be a Category 1 hurricane surge for the Wilmington area. And we zoom in practically down to street level with this, and you can see the yellow indications. Yellow areas would be a surge greater than 3 feet above ground. These are the areas that would be most vulnerable to flooding in a Category 1 hurricane. And you can zoom around the map in different locations and see what your area would have as a Category 1. You can pick whatever category you want to look at. We have Category 1 through Category 5. And when there's a active hurricane approaching land, the National Hurricane Center is supposed to be releasing updated surge maps this year, so we're going to try to implement those on the front page of Hurricane City here as well. So visit Hurricane City and get the latest surge maps as a hurricane is approaching, and they'll all be extracted from the National Hurricane Center. And of course, we can always have ANA's best track, and these are all the detailed information statistics on ANA, such as how far is it from your location, what the winds are around the center of circulation, what the best performing models are, both in intensity and track, and the past track where it's been. All these details are on the best track, and that'll always be updated at Hurricane City. So we're excited about the new release of Hurricane City, and again, you can always click on the thumbnails down here, and that opens up the mouseable models. You mouse over the models, and it gives you the wind speeds and the pressures and everything else based on what the models are finding. So a lot of stuff at Hurricane City new this year. Let's click on Wilmington, and that's our current feature at Hurricane City, and you can see that the winds are currently northeast at 20, and they're gusting to about 35 miles per hour at this hour. But what's really neat is you can pick all the webcams and radio feeds. Here's a live feed from Wrightsville Beach, and well, we're not it's not loading at the moment, but we just had it going a minute ago. Apparently, they must be having a lot of people watching this webcam right now. But let's try it one more time. No, it's not loading at this moment, but there's a whole choice of webcams. Here's downtown Wilmington, for example. There's the downtown campus, and I think there's downtown Wilmington. So there's all kinds of neat stuff to look at. We have a Twitter feed down here that's all geared towards the latest on Anna. You click on that, and you can get all the latest Twitter feeds. And again, these are all real-time. They update automatically. You don't need to touch anything on your computer. Everything is automated at Hurricane City. And, of course, I'll always have my commentary at the above. It's going to be a little bit abbreviated this year. Right up in here, I'll give a brief description of what's happening with the site, what's coming up in the future. I'm not going to be long-winded this year. It's going to be basically you go to the site, you pick and choose what you want to look at, and there's everything based on the area that's being impacted. So if we go back to the main map real quickly here, one more thing I wanted to point out, and that is the flashing, blinking red light on the map is the current featured city, obviously. You can see it right there, Wilmington, North Carolina. And we do not, it's not a clickable link, but it's just basically indicating on the map, this is our current featured city. And again, if you want to see the current featured city, just simply click on it right above the tracking map, and everything will open in the main frame. All other aspects of Hurricane City are basically the same. You have the Jim City predictions. We have the Hurricane City database, the ranking. All the other pages are basically the same. Now, speaking of my predictions, I'm going to be releasing my predictions on May 15th. I'm working on the video right now, and again, I'll send that out to the mailing list of subscribers, and you'll get notified when that video is available, and I'll also tweet about it. So that'll be released on the 15th, and then on June 1st, the live hurricane season kickoff show, 8 p.m., I'll be live along with my co-host Bill Phillips, and we'll be live at 8 p.m. on June 1st talking about the upcoming hurricane season and what to expect. I was going to release Hurricane City on June 1st for the show, but now that I'm doing it, we're just going to talk basically about what we expect this hurricane season, and we'll just have some fun with that on June 1st at 8 p.m. Well, that's it for now. Everybody in the Carolinas, just get your loose objects in from outside. This should not be a real big deal. There might be some minor flooding and whatnot, but this will move out of the area quickly on Sunday and Monday. That's it for now. We'll do another update after the beginning of the hurricane season. Thank you again for visiting Hurricane City.